Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olswinger.
You know, I typically always say, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time frame we're in.
Is it still not a good afternoon?
You know what, it is,
DFW?
but I don't think I'll ever be saying that again. So, at least on here.
At least for this episode, he won't be saying it again.
No.
Maybe next week he'll come back and we're okay. But we thought about doing an emergency episode on Tuesday, but schedules just I couldn't. I have a very rigid schedule, unfortunately, and so I only have this time blocked off for the podcast. So we're having it's I don't want to say it's not grown a little bit old, but it's one of those we're kind of coming in the back end of all the talk about it, which is probably good because I probably would have had some, slip ups with language if we had done it like the day or two after.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, if you've been living under a rock the past, I don't know, like
Almost week.
Luka Doncic, the best player in DFW, maybe the best player DFW's ever seen in any sport, was traded to the Lakers for Max Christie, a 2029 first-round pick, and Anthony Davis. And not only did we just give up Doncic, we also gave up Maxi Kleber and one of our veteran leaders, Markieff Morris. So it wasn't like they just got Luka. They got two other players, which I have to assume we had to trade for salary reasons.
Yeah, but also you also knew guys like Maxi were most likely getting dealt at the deadline anyway. But not in this fashion.
Okay, so I'll start with the frustration that I felt, which was I'll start with where we were because we both live in the same house, and he calls me. He's like, Brady, you got to get down to my room right now. And usually he texts me Twitter notifications. Usually, and I get nervous every time because sometimes it's like it could be the greatest thing ever for my team, or it could be the worst thing ever for my team. Who knows? Sometimes he'll add a caption, "Worst thing ever." I'm like, oh great, what is this now? Usually it was during all the Dodger signings. Mm-hmm. It was just like, who'd they sign now?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, are you okay? He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, maybe not. I don't know. And so because I was playing video games, I immediately am like, well, no, I'm gonna look at my phone because clearly whatever's happened, I need to see it before I go down there. And I just see, I go to Twitter and it hadn't popped up yet. So I go to my, my notifications, go to, top, and it's like my newest tweet was from Shams, and it said, breaking, I saw Dallas Mavericks trade Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis. And I stopped. And everybody, even Seth, who we knocked on the door, everybody thought he was hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought, going back to some of the comments, there are Mavs people like, you real funny, Shams. That's really good. You almost had me. And then I think it was this slow realization that maybe he's not hacked.
Well, because then he tweeted again, yes, this is 100% real.
But that's what a hacker does.
Right.
It's like, yes, this is real. I am the Prince of Nigeria. That's what that's what a scammer, it's what a hacker is going to do. I don't think any of us really believed it until ESPN reported it. It came through on apps instead of it just being on Twitter. And then Shams went on ESPN, breaking news, got on there and said, yes, this is real. And at that point, I think we all fell into madness. I broke a little metal shelf that I had because I was about to punch my television, and I was able to refrain myself from punching my television, but I was able to find just something to break because I was that pissed, and we were all pissed, and I don't think anyone still understands it, Chase.
No. I mean, we talk about it, and to even consider that this is even a thing, that they went to them about this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard to still put in the words, and I'm never going to be able to put it in the words. But they traded a global superstar.
Yeah.
Who took over for a guy that we loved for 20 years, who brought us a championship. And we lucked into another European, white guy who played a season with Dirk and just took over from there. And I mean, listen, you talk about it, the Cowboys, the richest franchise, not just in Dallas, in all of sports. But the Mavs had the guy who was the face of the city.
Yeah.
So much for this team and
city.
Franchise and city and fans. And who took this team to the finals not even 7 months ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know if I'm getting my math right or not, but who cares? Less than a year ago.
This time last year, we were hailing the Gafford and PJ trade.
Yeah, this time, exactly this time last year.
Vibes were high.
And a week ago today, Nico Harrison's the best GM in basketball.
One of,
yeah. And there's praise for everybody, outside of Jerry for in the Dallas, Metroplex.
Well, yeah, I'm on record on this show saying on several different occasions that, well, Jerry sucks, but if you just like sports in DFW, thankfully we've got 3 other teams that are run by competent general managers that know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I would consider myself an amateur sports historian. I'm not as good as, but that's just because I'm 20 years old, just haven't had the chance to accumulate all the knowledge. But school keeps getting in the way, unfortunately, of my studies. There is nothing that comes to mind. Maybe the Gretzky trade. Maybe. There is not much that comes to mind of the shock levels that this trade had.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it as the worst trade ever in Dallas history. That's no question. But
oh yeah, I mean, Rangers have made some bad moves, but here's the problem, and we talked about this the night of, and it's a point that I really wanted to make here.
Right.
Is most trades look good or bad in retrospect. Herschel Walker was probably the most hated trade, not in retrospect. The day they found out, everyone hated. My dad was like, man, I hated that trade. Why are we trading Herschel Walker for picks? What are we going to do with picks? And then you basically draft a dynasty that almost could have four-peated. So we talk about three-peating right now. It almost could have four-peated. But that trade looked bad at the time, but looked great in retrospect, and it looked bad for the Vikings in retrospect. Most trades look good or bad in retrospect, and we usually say, well, that doesn't look great right now, but let's see how it turns out, right? This trade looked bad the second we found out about it.
I mean, you had everybody around the world, not just NBA players. No. Everybody thought Shams was hacked, and that says something.
Because it feels like an NBA 2K trade you make when you're controlling the Lakers.
And you couldn't even make it in 2K. That was the meme. People went into 2K and did this exact same trade, and the Mavericks said, no, you consider Luka Doncic untouchable. If we ever want to consider anything, we're going to need way more than this.
Well, yeah, like it's the trade you make when you put forced trades on.
Right.
And you're trying to just have some fun in 2K, and you put Luka on the Lakers because you're controlling the Lakers. It makes no sense then. It makes no sense now. And even if you win 3 championships with AD, it will never make sense. I think that's the problem that some people aren't getting. And, there's a philosophy I always had. I was raised on this philosophy. And if you're listening to this, you're going to smile because you gave me this philosophy. And that is the 3 Fs. Flags fly forever. It doesn't matter what you give up. It doesn't matter what you trade, how much luxury tax you got to spend. None of it matters if you win a championship because that flag will fly forever. I'm going to have to amend that now because this altered my philosophy on this. Because now it doesn't matter if you win because there's a large chunk of this fan base that's going to go, cool, I'm happy we won, but we didn't win with Luka, and we were supposed to do that. So now I'm pissed. And I don't think the Mavs front office understands that. They're still subscribing to the philosophy I had a week ago, which was it doesn't matter what you trade, what you do. Like even if this trade works out in terms of rings, and Luka becomes Joel Embiid and it can never be healthy and never be on the court, turns into Zion Williamson, Mavs fans will still say, yeah, but he may have not done that here. You sent him to LA where he got more depressed and then he ate more. You know what I mean? Like, there is no way this trade never looks bad in any regard because you traded away the most popular player in a town, in a region where the most valuable sports franchise also resides. And yet this guy was the franchise. He was the city. He was the face
He was the city.
He was the face of DFW sports, right? And that's after one of your teams in the region just won a championship a year, 2 years ago, technically, because we're in 25, but pretty much a year ago, right? The Stars have made a Stanley Cup final, made back-to-back Western Conference finals, right? They're right on the doorstep. The Cowboys had 3 straight playoff seasons, and yet this guy, who also had success, he was the face of everything for you, and now he's just gone. I think that's part of it, too, was normally you get to mourn your star players, right? Normally, fan bases, they leave in free agency, and like I'm sure Cavs fans braced themselves for the fact that LeBron actually could leave. Some may not have admitted that at the time, but I guarantee you there was a large portion of the people that were outraged that had thought, well, what if he doesn't come back? And kind of started to embrace that and cope with it before it actually happened. This is different.
Yeah.
This was something you never thought could happen, and it happened.
This is more about basketball, at this point. I mean, I know we're going to stress it multiple times, today, especially, and going forward. Nico ripped the heart out of every single person in this city.
Yeah.
And Luka is as well. This was something that he didn't want. This was something that he didn't expect. And they ripped his heart out.
He looked so sad.
Yeah,
not just in the press conference. You see him on the bench.
Yeah,
he had that moment where it looked like he was hitting him that he's really in LA. He did not look happy.
No, he's not going to be happy. He can look happy. He can play he's going to play the same way. He's going to win championships. But at the end of the day, only he knows how he feels. But we all have a little, we have a hint that no matter what, he would rather be here and never win than go somewhere and win 15 straight. Maybe not 15, maybe 15 straight. It's a stretch. You know what I mean?
And three-peat.
Right. Luka, he said in his goodbye post that he thought he was going to retire here, spend his career here, and he wanted to bring the city championship so bad. And, this was just a selfish move. Yeah. This was something that Nico thought that this would be better for the team, that they could win now. But he didn't take into consideration about the fans, the city, the love of the game for each person and their perspective of the team. And this is just something that will never, I've said it, but I'll never ever recover from this. I mean, the only way that I can ever be happy again with the Mavs is one, when Nico's gone, because if he can be gone very soon. And Luka comes back one day. And, hopefully, the next 5 years while he's still in his prime. Because I don't want him coming back to, for the last year, people, teams are all around, they sign their guys who are with them, when they're 40 years old for one more year just to, so they can retire a Mav or whatever, But
so they can walk out, play 5 minutes, get a standing ovation, and walk off.
Exactly. And as close as there is a chance to zero of that happening, I don't see Luka ever coming back. But
not with Nico.
Not with Nico. I mean, listen, if Nico's gone, the ownership's gone, and they're not in Vegas by now or by then, whenever, we can maybe get into that later. All the conspiracy theories, but there's multiple theories going on that we don't have the time on the show to talk about. But it's just it's heartbreaking. It's the worst moment that I've ever felt. Obviously there's not a lot of tragic things that's happened in my life. Knock on wood, and I know yours as well. And this is something that I have no idea how to go forward with this.
This feels like the death of a family member.
Yeah,
is the closest comparison I can give. And while I feel like I have to be a little transparent about this. When I talk about Game 6, 2011, I was not watching it live. All of my pain comes from the fact that it happened and watching it in retrospect, because I have gone back, and I'm sorry, Dad, for doing this to you. We went back and rewatched the game. And I almost cried because, realizing truly just how close we were to getting that championship. So I feel the same pain I think Rangers fans do, even though I wasn't watching it live, and some may say, well, you can't truly feel it because you weren't watching it live. I think mine is, it is a little more retrospect than it was, obviously live, but still, there's that. I witnessed the Des No catch. I witnessed the Jared Cook catch and subsequent, Mason Crosby, who, by the way, just retired, field goal. I remember C.J. Anderson absolutely turning into, Eric Dickerson right in front of us,
right,
in L.A. I remember the Dak, quarterback draw with 15 seconds. I was there for the Zeke hiking the ball to Dak in San Francisco. I was there for the embarrassing Packer loss. I've been there for all of the poor, the Bautista home run, getting swept in 16 for the Rangers, losing to the Lightning in the Stanley Cup Finals, back-to-back Western Conference losses.
The Mavs losing in the finals last year.
Losing in the finals. Although I don't want to say I expected it.
Right.
I kind of felt like what my dad described it was in 2010 for the Rangers, where it's like, we're in the finals. I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
I'm a happy bystander. But through all of those sports moments, the only time I've ever cried about sports was when the Rangers won the World Series, because it was out of joy.
Right.
Out of finally, I get to see my team win. I cried that night, and I'm not a big crier. And I mean, it was one of those, because I do my nighttime scroll on TikTok, and like every other video was a Luka edit, and it was just it wore me down.
Yeah,
because it hurts. This is worse than any of those things. This is the worst I have ever felt because of professional sports. My very short playing career obviously had some painful moments, like when we lost in the playoffs and all that, lost to Ennis. But, this hurt worse than anything I felt as a fan of any team, any of my teams, because a loss, you can regroup after a loss, right? Or it's either hey, at least we have next year, or we gave it a good shot, whatever.
Like last year in June, when Celtics won Game 5 at home, and again, like you said, I didn't expect to win that series.
Oh, hell no.
I was happy to be there. I was happy that Luka and Kyrie had a chance to do something historic. But I wasn't. Of course, I was upset when we lost.
But there was, hey, we got next year.
But I was like, listen, I didn't expect to win. I'm so happy for the team and what they did. I'm so excited to get better and go and move into next year and try to run it back. And they did everything that I wanted them to do in the offseason.
Clay.
They got Clay. They upgraded from Hardaway. They upgraded with Grimes. And they upgraded with Najee from Derrick Jones Jr. As much as we love DJJ, Najee is an upgrade.
And then Grimes was upgraded over Hardaway.
Yeah, I mean, and Clay was over Josh Green. They did everything that I wanted them to do. And, I mean, Nico was fantastic in the offseason. He built the team around Luka.
And Kyrie.
To run it back. And the team looked so good. And unfortunately, the injury bug hit him this year. And obviously, you look at it now, it's like, if Luka never have gotten hurt, I'm sure he'd still be a Mav, because the team would be fine. They were, 19-10 before he got hurt.
The problem is that there have been reports that this has been in the work for months.
Right. Well, so what the first report was, when he got that wrist injury, and I'm air quoting here because it wasn't really a wrist injury. I remember it was the game where they beat the Pelicans by 40-something in the NBA Cup. And the next day they say Luka is out for a week with a wrist injury. I was like, when did that even happen? I was watching the whole game yesterday. He was playing in the final minutes, still shooting. I mean, they said it was his right wrist, which was his shooting hand. I was like, he was shooting yesterday. I didn't notice anything, especially to be out for a whole week. That was a warning for him to get in better conditioning. They used a wrist injury, again, air quoting, as a time for him to get in better condition so they can make a run. Turns out he didn't. He comes back, plays a few games. Christmas Day comes, he gets hurt. He's out for a month. The Mavs warned him. They stressed to him that they want him to be healthy and to help this team. Because listen, when he's on the floor, we watched it the last month when he was still on the team. I mean, we were just waiting for him to get back because it was hard to watch. And And they gave him chances. And now, listen, I still don't agree with everything, obviously, because there's many things you can do as a GM to better your players than just say, well, I'm tired of what you did. Bye-bye. And that's what they did, and that's what's selfish about it. But they could have put an incentive in his contract to, listen, you get in better shape with new trainers and stuff like that. Here's an incentive. They could have done many things, many alternatives to this. And it just seems like they were
hell-bent on trading.
They were just tired of it, so they just decided to send him away.
And it also looks like that Nico was zeroed in on AD because they didn't. There's so many parts to this. We're going to try to dig into it a little bit here. I don't want to spend 45 minutes on Luka.
Right, there's so much to talk about.
But there's so much to dig into. With the reports are that they were zeroed in on AD. And there's two kind of branches off this. The one is Nico has this fascination, and I don't blame him for this. The problem is you can't do this as a GM. He has a fascination with the players that were Nike, that he has a relationship with because he was at Nike. Right? Well, Luka's not Nike, so he didn't have a relationship with Luka. He had a relationship with Kyrie, if I'm not mistaken. He has a relationship with Anthony Davis. So there's a familiarity there. And we got to give flowers to Rob Pelinka because he
took advantage of him.
He worked Nico Harrison like a fit. I mean, he worked him over. Played him like a drum. Just was able to it sounds like he was able to once he sensed Nico was feeling uneasy about Luka's conditioning, that Pelinka was able to be like, "Oh yeah, well, see, it's like that guy in fantasy league that tries to sell you on the player that he's trying to trade you, Oh, you should take this guy because this and this and this and this, and I'm you're really getting the better deal here. I'm screwing myself, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, they're smiling. This is like, I'm not going to reference it specifically, but the scene I'm talking about in Wolf of Wall Street.
Of course.
When he's talking, trying to sell stocks to that guy, that Pelinka's doing that over the phone to Nico and his, assistants are trying not to laugh, because he knows he's about to fleece this guy. And I know people are going to say, but AD is, look, I know AD, he's a fine player. Great player. He's not Luka. He does not bring what Luka brings. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. That's, no. AD's a really, really good player still. I don't believe he's in his prime anymore. He's kind of coming out of it. He's 31. He may have one more year of prime production left if he can stay healthy. But that's just it. You lose all credibility when you say we're trading this guy because of conditioning and injury concerns, and we're trading him for an even more injured and older player. So clearly that's not why. This is what's fueling the conspiracy theories. We're trading Luka because you can't say it's cap flexibility. You can't say we don't want to give him the Supermax, because why do we give him the Supermax? Well, conditioning. So to me, it sounds like the answer that Nico and them are putting out there is we did this for conditioning, and we're worried he's going to be the next Zion / Joel Embiid, where he's every week he's got a new ailment. That's fair. The problem is that you traded for a guy that is more injured and older. So you lose credibility now. So what's the real reason you traded him away? It sounds like Nico just didn't like Luka. He just didn't like him. Like that's, there's that famous clip from, I think it was after we won the Western Conference Finals, where I think it's Michael Finley taking away Luka's beer. And he's kind of looking at him like, what? It was one of those interesting kind of like, because Luka's, I think he's there with his dad. And they just take his beer, and they move. And then people are kind of like, but now when you see it from now, we know what's happened. It's like, how long have they been mad at Luke? There have been people, there's an all-star that texted Brian Windhorst that said they really must hate Luka to do this. Right? The conspiracy theory, and I don't want to say I'm believing it, but the problem is that how many A's fans said, oh, there's no way they're moving? How many Seattle fans said, oh, there's no way they're moving the Supersonics? No way. How many fans? A lot. and everyone's doing it again. Oh, there's no way you move the Mavericks. No, never say never. If the Brooklyn Dodgers can leave Brooklyn, no team is safe because that team was one of the most beloved teams in the history of sports. So no team is safe to me, ever.
The problem with that was and my dad said this the other day when I think you were listening to him as well, the teams that, did sell or move their franchise, didn't have the attendance, didn't have the media, they didn't have all the popularity with the team in the city. The Mavs did. They're the fourth largest media market.
And probably about to pass Chicago.
Right.
Especially with Luka, you're passing Chicago.
And, I hate to say it, but dude, people are Mavs fans and people are basketball fans because of Luka. I've seen majority of every single person I've seen on social media. They're Laker fans now. And it's because of Luka. And I'm in the same boat. I'm always going to support the Mavs. Always, always. I never want to see them lose. But you're crazy if you don't think I'm supporting the Lakers right now.
More than the Mavs?
No, not I don't know. Not necessarily.
The Mavs and the Lakers are facing off in the Western Conference Finals.
I don't care who wins.
See, I don't know. I'm rooting for the Mavs.
I'm rooting for the Mavs. But if the Lakers win, I'm not disappointed.
If the Lakers win, I'm not mad because I'm happy that Nico looks like an idiot. That's the thing, is that some people, this is one of those few times where I will say, you know me, Chase, I'm one of the people that says you never root against your team, and if you do that, you're not a real fan, you're a bandwagon. This is one of those times where it's not that people are rooting for the Mavs to lose. They're not rooting for the Mavs to lose.
Right.
They're rooting for Nico to lose. Because it's why there's a player in the draft, for example, that I just don't like. I just think, like Caleb Williams, for example, I thought he was overrated. I'm not saying I don't want him to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. The problem is that if he doesn't succeed, then I'm proven right, and I like being right. So it's there's a tug of war going on there, and this is the same thing with this. I'm not mad if the Lakers win. I'm happy that Nico looks like an idiot because he is, and that's the conspiracy theories are the Adelsons have wanted to bring gambling casinos to Texas. Well, they didn't get it through this legislature, so they got to wait 2 more years. And if they don't get it through again, they're doing the carrot and stick. They bought the Mavs, they invested money, signed a bunch of players, right? But now I think they're starting to, okay, the carrot's not working, we got to bring in the stick. Now we trade Luka. The next thing they're going to do...
Get the viewership down, get the ticket sales down, get everything down, and that's when the threat comes out. Listen.
The next thing they're going to do is they're going to threaten the city and say, if you don't legalize gambling, just all gambling, I am not even sport, just gambling, and we can build casinos and this, probably $1 billion boondoggle with, a new... I don't know, is the AAC in that bad of shape?
No. It's an unbelievable arena. It's amazing.
So anyway, just saying that, they don't need a new stadium. But then they're going to threaten. If you don't build this for us and do this for us, we're taking your basketball team. And then there's the conspiracy that the only reason it's getting credibility is because of the fact that Nico said conditioning and then traded for an even worse conditioning player. Did Adam Silver help facilitate this trade?
Right.
Because he hears it. Viewership is in the toilet right now. Baseball might be surpassing basketball pretty soon. That day, that's bad for basketball, which was once number 1, I believe. Maybe. No, I don't think it was ever. Was it ever over football? Probably not. So
maybe like 10 years ago, maybe.
So for basketball, he hears it. So what do? You get your star player to not just one of the biggest markets, but your team. You get it to the Lakers, right? And do I believe it? No. Would I be surprised if it came out in 10 years that that's what happened?
I would like there to be an investigation on
Led
Nico.
By who? Adam Silver?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want there
that's
to be.
The problem.
I want there to be something. We're gonna. We've been talking for a long time. I want to. Try to wrap things down. I'm sure you're the same way because we still got a lot to talk about. Even with the NBA, we still have a lot to talk about.
We have a Super Bowl to talk about.
But I don't know if you've seen for this weekend. There's going to be a protest before the game.
Good.
There's going to be... And
if they find Nico, he better hide because they're going to look for him. And
it's not going to be a pretty scene in Dallas for many, many, many years to come. But... there's going to be sell the team chants, fire Nico chants during the game. We love Luka. People are going to be wearing Lakers Luka jerseys. You know, what I want to see when the Lakers come here in April and Luka's reunion, I want to see the whole crowd in LA Luka jerseys. I want to see every single seat yellow. Make it look like a home game. Everybody cheer both ways, especially when Luka's, you know, everything needs to go downhill for Nico. And it's something I'll never forgive him for. I don't care how many rings he wins.
No.
But the one thing my dad was also saying, Nico's job as a general manager is to win championships.
But
and if he does, he did his job.
Here's the problem, and I'm going to push back a little bit on this. Jim Nill, to me, represents what a GM should be. Your job is not just let the coach worry about the short-term future. It is a GM's job. Yes, it's everyone's job to win a championship. That's easy. It is the GM's job to make sure that the franchise, the team, is set up to win, not just now, but in the future.
Right? And there is no future.
Coaches think short-term. GMs are supposed to think long-term. And right now, Nico's thinking short-term. And when your GM thinks short-term, he makes stupid moves like this. I almost slipped there.
It's okay.
He makes stupid moves that are not looking down the road, that are very, close-minded and we're just worried about the next, 1 to 2, maybe 3 years. And because that's your window. 3, maybe 4 years, maybe. Like, and it's going to fuel the conspiracy theories. We'll probably continue to talk about this every week to remind you that Nico Harrison's an idiot.
Because listen, our job here on the show is to still inform everybody what's going on with the Mavs.
And our opinion.
And everything that's going on. So unfortunately, we're going to have to look behind it and just look at the team that's currently there.
We could win this year.
Listen, real quickly, I know we got to end because there's more NBA news to talk about just around the organization. That won't take as long, but we got to, there's very important stuff we got to talk about. Anthony Davis, and I will go back to what you said. He is still in his prime. Anthony Davis is a top 7 player in the league, in my opinion, and is still a superstar. Anthony Davis is an unbelievable talent. He is one of the best defenders, if not the best defender in basketball, can still put up 30 every night. So I understand what Nico's doing when he says Anthony Davis has a better chance of helping us win now. I get it. Nobody wanted this. I get it. And with Christie, he's a good young talent. He's 21 years old, a lot of potential. But I mean, listen, it's not going to be the same. When you're watching these games, you're not going to be, as sometimes, as annoyed we got with him, Luka going and taking step back threes and hitting them from half court, terrible shots, right? But that's what Luka does. That's the entertainment that he brings. And, it's going to be a completely different style of basketball now. And it's just a terrible, terrible moment in sports history. Not just for Dallas, in sports history, because even Lakers fans feel bad, and NBA fans feel bad, and it's something that I wish, now that we've gone through it, I don't wish it on anybody for their young players, their superstars to be traded.
I don't know if this is real. Apparently, in the Mark Williams presser, Rob Pelinka said, "I'd like to thank Nico Harrison and the Mavs."
For Mark Williams?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not sure if that's real or not.
I don't know. We'll have to go check on that because they were able to keep Connect. They probably made that deal able for them to do that.
Yeah, and officially, real quickly, the Suns are not moving Kevin Durant, and apparently the Mavericks are very aggressive in exploring pathways to acquire KD. Whatever.
Yay! So what we're saying is the only move that we made was the other guy we picked up that nobody knows, and then this is awful.
It's just a terrible moment. It's
all right, but we will probably how about this?
We'll have more stuff on it.
Let's split time with this because next week we have to do a mock draft.
Right.
That's going to take some time. So maybe we split this Luka's talk up into multiple weeks,
right,
where we kind of just continue to give our thoughts. But the summary of this all is we're hurt. Both of us, I think we both were in tears that night.
Yep.
It is the worst thing I've ever experienced as a sports fan, and for people that know me to understand that statement from me, but Chase is the basketball guy, right? So you expect that from him. Baseball is my first love. Football is my second love. Basketball, I fell in love with the Mavs really when Luka was a rookie. Because it was like finally, because I remember have been watching and Dennis Smith Jr. We just couldn't put together that we didn't have that guy.
There's not many guys that get drafted from the first game. You're like, oh my God, this guy's special.
Yeah, this guy's got it.
Like even with Dirk, it took time. Yeah. Dirk was like, Mavs fans were saying, my dad was telling me that they thought he was a bust, and it was just another scrawny white guy from Europe.
He was like Kukoc. He was like all these guys that just was going to be okay, but nothing special.
He kept getting better and better. But Luka from the jump
was special.
Was unbelievable. And you knew that there was a future, that you knew that there was something special making in Dallas. And I just pray that Luka one day ends up back here because
it was ripped from us. It feels like.
Yeah, it just terrible.
A loss I can cope with because we lost to somebody else. Congratulations, they beat us. This was I can handle losing more than I can handle stupidity. Yeah. This was just stupidity. And it feels like Nico, there've been people on Twitter saying maybe he is kind of a smarmy, thinks he knows. There's been reports that he's walking around the Mavs facilities like he's the big man on campus because he got rid of Luka. Look at what I can do. It just feels like a power trip. It feels awful. No one likes it. We will continue the Luka talk next week.
But to wrap up real quickly with the NBA, I know it's been a lot. Just now going into the world of the NBA, Jimmy Butler traded to the Warriors. Finally that drama's over. That was going on for a while. Suspended 3 different times. Finally has a destination. I'm trying to think about what other big, because I don't want to spend too much time on NBA. Mark Williams, we just said to the Lakers.
Dennis Schroeder just got traded again.
Schroeder to the Pistons. He was everywhere. Trying to think.
He's like the most movable player ever.
Yeah.
He's still a good player.
And he's not a bad player. No, he's not a bad player at all. Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks for Chris Middleton. An era ended there in Milwaukee. Middleton was a fan favorite. Won them a championship.
But Kuzma's a really good player.
He's whatever. It's more of Middleton. He's just not what he was anymore.
Aging.
And it was the right decision. It's just...
It hurts.
It was time. And if this happened with Luka, for example, if it was
12 years,
if it was time to trade him, then sure, thank you for everything you've done. It is time for you to go, so I'm gonna be sad, but it's the right decision. No,
this feels, again, last thing I promise. It feels like something glitched in the Matrix.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel real.
This wasn't supposed to happen. He was supposed to win a championship. This wasn't. As a journalism major, I want to be a storyteller, and this was supposed to be the story. This was the story, and then it was just the book was just burned and is now a pile of ash in Nico Harrison's office. Anyway, moving on.
Word quickly. De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. Great decision for San Antonio. Zach LaVine in that package 3-team deal with the Bulls. Zach LaVine to the Kings.
LaVine's a good player, so there's not but
but the Spurs, they have a future.
Nurkic just got dealt too.
Yeah, Nurkic to the Hornets. That you saw that coming. There was no relationship there. Everybody wanted him out of Phoenix.
Why has he just been bad?
He's been bad. He's he was with Hunaji, the PJ and the scuffle earlier in the season with the fighting and the suspensions.
So they just sent him to Siberia, basically.
He pretty much. They just wanted him out. He wasn't bringing anything other than toxicity to the team, and without that, no production. But that's really it for the NBA. We're going to continue on with this, going on every week.
We'll move to more positive things. Real quick with the Stars, and I want to say this about, I think the Luka trade is something it's done for me is it's made me appreciate the Rangers and the Stars and where they are. And so I've watched the last 2 Stars games pretty much from puck drop to the end of the third period because I'm like, I don't want to. Are we going to trade, Jason? Are we going to trade Wyatt Johnston for nobody now? So I'm trying to I'm coping by throwing myself more into the Stars, and when the Rangers eventually start up here in about a week.
If Luka's traded, anyone can get traded. That's the thing. Nobody's safe now.
Nobody's safe now. We're appreciating what we got.
Yeah.
And for the Rangers, real quick, if the streaming deals, if you have DirecTV Stream, you have DirecTV, there's several. So there's a lot of ways to watch Rangers, and I think other teams should take notice. But the Stars, they've been playing okay. They just haven't been able to muster a ton of offense. It feels like they're either losing 2-1 or they're winning, 5-4.
Right.
It just is like you either can't stop them and you're having to score a lot, or you're stopping them but you can't score. So it's hopefully they can kind of. But we traded for Granlund in the same day.
And CeCe,
same day, I woke up to Granlund and CeCe, And I was like, hell yeah, this is a great trade. Jim Nill cooking once again, not having to give up one of his top, young guns for two really, really good players.
Yeah.
And we went to bed with the best player ever in this region being traded. Like I said with the Rangers pitchers and catchers report here, we're coming up to what I call the dead period. It's like a 2 to 3 day period where pitchers and catchers don't report yet, and the Super Bowl's has ended. So because these are my two favorite sports, it is the only stretch in a calendar year where there is no baseball activity and there is no football activity, where they're both in off season.
Right.
Because at any other point, at least one of them is in season. So, or at least like in training camp or something. So, spring training. So that starts up here pretty soon. Rangers look really good going into this season. I mean, last year we were just soaking in the champagne of November 1st, 2023. I think this year, and I called this. I said, I'll go back and I'll find the clip where I know I talked about this, where I was like, look, this year, whatever happens, I don't care.
Right.
Because
I was the same way.
I can just watch. Every time we lose a game, I went back and watched the playoffs.
Yeah, I was the same way.
But now, okay, we won. We didn't.
We're not good.
We got jet lagged a little
bit. We won't
there.
sugarcoat it. We were not good.
And
Move
then
on. Yeah.
we were, to me, we were an average team.
Yeah,
because we took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. David Robertson being like God,
and then also becoming one of 3 teams to ever win a World Series and not make the playoffs after.
Yeah, but that's fine. But Bochy, no, not one of 3 teams.
I thought it was one of 3 teams in the history of baseball that have won the World Series in the following season didn't even make the playoffs.
It's been more than that.
Are you sure?
I guarantee you.
I thought it was like an old Marlins team.
Well, yeah, the '98 Marlins were awful. They lost 100 games, but then Bochy in 11.
I thought it was only 3.
No, Bochy 11, 13, and 15 didn't make the playoffs.
Really?
Because remember, he was World Series, no playoffs. World Series, no playoffs.
Okay, well maybe it was a different stat then. Sorry, don't quote me on that. It was it was something that I saw one of 3 teams something after winning a World Series.
Maybe to not be over 500, maybe to have a below 500 record. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know, whatever.
The point is,
new season.
We look good this year, though. I said 24. I don't care what happens. 25. The expectations come back now. Because now, 23, there really weren't expectations. It was just, hey, I expect to be in that 84, 85 win range. We won 90 games, won the freaking World Series. 24 was no expectations. I have no expectations. Let's just hope for a good year. And then 25, now, I got expectations. Because now I know these guys can win, and we've added players. We fixed some of the problems we had with, for some reason, can't hit a fastball. I'm sorry, Nathaniel Lowe, but you couldn't hit a fastball. So we got a guy that crushes fastballs, and Peterson and Berger. Mally's here for a full season. We'll see what Rocker and Leiter can do. They're having, I think, a Rocker and a Leiter like bobblehead night, but it's
on the same day.
It's for the theme night stuff. They haven't announced like the actual giveaways. They've announced the theme nights because they're like one's like a Star Wars bobblehead and stuff. I don't think whatever. I don't care about those. I care about the real actual ones, not the little Shark Week bobble. I don't care. So we'll see. I'm excited about the Rangers, but. Anyway, that's pretty much your Stars and Rangers talk. There's really not much going on in baseball. We signed Sam Haggerty and Matt Festa to some minor league deals, and Nick Ahmed. I mean, this is that kind of Pete Alonso. We signed with the Mets yesterday.
Yep.
Scott Boras masterclass, 2 years, $54 million. I'm sure Alonso's not very happy about that. But now we move forward into the big one. What was supposed to be the big topic of this week, but ended up being overshadowed by one of the biggest trades in sports history, and that is Super Bowl. What are we on now? I can't read Roman numerals.
59.
It's something like that. Hold on. What Super Bowl is this? Because we're coming up.
59, I think.
No, not Super Bowl food.
That'll be $50 for a napkin.
I'm trying to Google it.
Let me say, like, what Super Bowl are we in? Oh, nice, and it shows me the 59.
Yeah, I
typed in what Super Bowl is this, and it shows Super Bowl LIX.
Super Bowl LIX. Well, great, that's wonderful. I know that. I used to be able to do it by year because I used to just go, okay, well, Super Bowl 50 was in 2016. So 9, I should have just done that. Super Bowl 50 was in 2016. What?
Nothing. I just got a report, speaking of that, we're on the NFL topic, from Ari Myrov, the NFL analyst. Micah Parsons revealed he was supposed to be a Giant. Giants lied to me. They told me if I fell to 11, they were going to pick me there. I swear.
They traded. Didn't they trade out?
Yeah, they said they traded back and took Kadarius Toney instead.
Yeah, they traded back with and the Eagles got Devonta Smith.
Right, but they said that if he was there...
No. The Bears. Wasn't that how the Bears got up? Who did they trade back with?
They traded back and took Kadarius Toney. I don't remember who.
When did the Bears... Because we traded back with the Eagles.
Right.
Because the Eagles... Hold on, because I'm blanking now. Because we traded back to 12 because that's right. The Eagles jumped the Giants for Devonta Smith. Giants were at 11. They traded back with Chicago. They got Fields, and they sailed back to like 20 and got Toney.
Right.
And we were at 12 and got Micah.
Right.
But Super Bowl 59, the one Super Bowl that nobody wanted. Neither of these teams I want to see win. People have asked me, who are you rooting for? Nobody. Truly.
Kendrick Lamar.
I'm not rooting for anybody. And as much as I hate the Eagles, what Jerry has done to me as a Cowboys fan is not make me hate the Cowboys or really, I don't really like him. It's made me not feel as strongly towards our rivals. Even though I've never really hated Washington or New York, I've always hated Philadelphia. And I don't want to see Philadelphia win because I don't want to see those fans have to get 2 before we get 1, in the last 30 years. However, it is an equal amount of dislike for not wanting to see the Chiefs win. Because we're going to have to hear all offseason about how, well, this is the greatest dynasty. And it's not, because 4 does not equal 6. Okay, I need people to understand this. And the problem with the arguments are this. Any of the tiebreakers, the Patriots hold the tiebreaker. Because, Chase, remind me what happened in the 2018 conference championship in Arrowhead. Remind me what happened?
Somebody beat Mahomes.
That's right. Tom Brady went into Mahomes' backyard and beat him.
Great game.
And then Brady beat him in a Super Bowl. So Brady has stopped him twice.
Granted, that Chiefs team in the Super Bowl, that was an embarrassment of a game. He stopped him from potentially winning 2 more championships. Right.
So when we look at Mahomes right now, Mahomes is at 4. Okay, do people not understand that's as many as he would be at 4 if he won this year?
Okay. Yeah.
That's as many as Montana.
Who people have as top 3 quarterback of all time.
So to me, Mahomes wins this one. He is firmly number 2, right behind Brady, because he's 4 championships. The 3-peat gives him some extra credibility.
People are going to be out there saying he's the greatest of all time.
But he's not. He's not. He has to win 8. He has to. He cannot win 7 because Brady holds a Super Bowl and a conference championship game in Mahomes' backyard.
If he wins 7,
he's not.
No.
Because now they're on the same playing field, but Brady has the 2 tiebreakers over him.
Right.
And the head-to-head matchups have to mean something. And it wasn't like that was Brady's prime when he was beating Mahomes. And it wasn't like it was Mahomes' prime. Mahomes is in his prime right now. He should be. Didn't have a great year. But
doesn't matter.
The Chiefs are winning this year because they're one of the best coach teams I've ever seen. Reed has a great offense. That's just, he has a pick-your-poison offense. You can stop Worthy. That's fine. We'll go to Kelsey. You want to stop Kelsey? It's fine. We'll go to Worthy. They have that offense again where it's like when they had Hill, you can double Hill, but then you're going to leave Kelsey potentially one-on-one. You can double Kelsey, but then now that's Tyreek Hill one-on-one. And it's the same thing with Worthy. Yeah. And Worthy's maybe faster. So I know he ran a faster 40, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Game speed can be a little different. So, and Spags is just, worked over offenses with when it comes down to crucial time. I don't know why my English is not working today. When crucial situations in the game, everyone knows, Chase, what is Spags doing? What's he calling?
A blitz.
A blitz. Everybody knows it. I don't even have to watch film to know that. I've watched enough Chiefs games to see. 3rd and 5 or more, even 3rd and 4 or more. Blitz. We're either going to, and they've got the personnel to do it, and anybody can blitz. They're bringing corners, they're bringing safeties, they're bringing linebackers, they're bringing everybody. Everybody's blitzing.
Yeah.
And that's, that's kind of what his defense is. And no one's really been able to figure out how to score on that. Someone's perfectly, I think, was able to explain what watching a Spagnuolo defense looks like. Chase, it looks like there's more than 11 guys. It looks like they're covering the field with 15 guys.
Yeah, for real.
With 11, which is crazy. And that they get home with pressure. The thing is Philly has a great offense. For what they do, running the football, ground and pound, play actions, they've got the quarterback to orchestrate it, they've got the receivers, and they've got the running back and the offensive line. And that defense is going to, they can't blame the turf this time.
Nope.
But that defense is pretty freaking stout. And if there's any secondary that could potentially figure out how to cover Kelsey, these are two really great teams.
Yeah, these are. Yeah.
This is going to be a great game. It's just a matter of, I don't want to see, if the Chiefs win, I'm pissed. Because now we get to hear about Swift and blah, 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 and the greatest dynasty. And then, if the Eagles win, we get to hear loud, obnoxious Eagles fans gloating about a championship. I feel I could take the Eagles fans a little bit easier than Chiefs fans, because at least with Eagles fans, I can go, I'm happy for you guys, because my team sucks, so cool. Good for you. I diffuse it, right? With the Chiefs, it angers me more because people always want to think they're watching greatness, which is great. That's fine. I know you want to think you're living through history. The fact of the matter is, we've already seen the greatest dynasty in the history of football. And it's going to take at least 3 more for the Chiefs to even match. 2 more. It's going to take, if they win this year, it's going to take 2 more for them to match what the Patriots did.
And they're going to be without Andy Reid and Kelsey going forward.
Not this year. Or not next year.
Right, but I'm saying...
Reid's already said he's coming back next year.
I'm saying if they want to win 3 more...
In 6 years, both will be gone.
Yeah.
In 5 years, both will probably be gone.
Yeah.
And Mahomes will still... But we'll see. So, Super Bowl picks, as much as I think the Eagles have the better team, the Chiefs are going to throw some... They have voodoo magic, man. And I'm not even going to say refs, because this will be the most scrutinized ref game of all time. The refs may not throw a single freaking flag out of fear for turning it into ref ball. I'm hoping it's like Super Bowl, what was it a few years ago? It was the Bengals Rams, where it was like there were no flags. Yeah. Just don't do it like the end of that game where it was a flag palooza out there, because it was, let's just turning into a flag party. As much as I'm taking the Eagles, I'm taking the Chiefs, because this is our last game picks for the year, Chase.
Yeah. On a more positive note, this has been a very negative episode. I took another, back to back.
Congratulations. You're better at this than I am. You're better at one thing than me, Chase. I hope he has a banner in his room now that just says, I'm better than Brady at picking games. To be fair, you are the degenerate sports bettor out of the both of us.
What can I say?
So you should know this stuff. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
But I'm also going with the Chiefs. I'm not betting against Mahomes.
I'm not betting against Mahomes, Reid, Spagnuolo. I'm not betting against the Chiefs finding a way to win football games.
Yeah.
And to finish off this episode, that is why I think people get pissed with the Chiefs. It's not because of Swift. It's not because of refs. It kind of is because of refs. When you watch Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, had they beat you, they were better than you. They just beat you. Right? They were just better.
Yeah.
The Chiefs... They don't feel like they're better. They feel like they're better coached, but their team does not feel like it's better than yours. It feels like they get breaks. Every single break, whether flag or drop or whatever, goes their way. And that's what's frustrating people, is that it feels like when it gets down and down to the end of the game and it's close, everyone knows what's going to happen. The Chiefs are going to sprinkle their voodoo magic on it, and then they're going to win. Yeah. And then you never really felt like Brady did that. Brady just beat you. So, been a somber episode. Baseball starts up pretty soon.
Yeah, right.
The draft's coming up in a couple months. Our first mock draft will be next week, because we'll know the full order of things, and so hopefully we can just start moving away from Luka and not be as depressed. I hope everyone's doing okay about it. We were all going through it.
Moving on. Trust me on that.
We were going through it for a while, so hope everyone has at least a somewhat good rest of their week.
Go Mavs and go Lakers.
No. I am not letting you in this episode on Go Lakers.
Go Luka. Go Mavs and go Luka.
Go Luka. I hope everyone has a great Super Bowl party. For those of you that are watching with the sports ball people, I feel bad for you, and I will be praying for you. Hopefully, I don't have to deal with too many sports ball people. So we will see you guys next week.